Hey, so I've been receiving a lot of questions about how I got into Stanford, Harvard, and all the other schools I got into, and just overall like my scores, my extracurriculars, any like activities I did during high school, stuff like that, my background, stuff like that. So I decided why not just make a YouTube video on it and just put it out there so I know can come watch it. So yeah, let's get into the video. Hey, okay. So I just wanted to preface this video by saying that at the end of the day, there's no secret formula that'll guarantee you get into Hempson, the Ivy League, a T10 school, T20, etc. We're all different. We're all unique. We all come from different walks of life, and that's what makes us human. And at the end of the day, what really matters is your passion and how you pursue your passion. If you're lazy and you don't really care about work, that'll show and that'll really be detrimental towards you. But if you're able to really speak your mind out and tell the missions officers and be able to really show that you're passionate about a certain subject and that you're really hoping to pursue that passion, that'll really stand out amongst over anything else. And so I just wanted to say that, put that out there before you guys hear my story, because I think my story really does kind of emulate that idea. And so I hope you guys kind of get that message as we go through the video. So just starting off with my story, just to start things off, I'm an immigrant. I was born in Nigeria back in September 2001, and around 9/11-ish, and because all the airports were closed, had to be born in Nigeria. So that's kind of where I began my journey in a way. I'm actually the only one in my family to be born overseas, and so it's a little family joke we make here and there. But yeah, I'm also the eldest of three kids. I have a younger sister who's a senior at this time, and a younger brother who just entered high school at this time. So it's always been my responsibility, or like to be the role model of the family, to really like put myself out there, to make mistakes and not to be afraid to make mistakes, because my siblings have to learn from me. So with that being said, I've always just been like a really big engineering and space guy. I remember back in 5th grade, my dad used to take all of us to like the planetarium in Boston. I'm from Boston, by the way, so constantly we'd be going to the Museum of Science in Cambridge, and it would always be just hanging out there, just whether it be exploring the museum, just kind of checking out all the exhibits constantly, just because whether it was because my dad low-key wanted to instill like scientific like reasoning in us, or just like we found it interesting in general, like I don't know, but I mean I guess it works. I'm here, so yeah, I've always just been like an engineering kid, so I've always kind of tried to pursue that the best way I can. I think it really kind of took hold during 7th grade, where I learned to program, because originally back in 4th grade I learned the password to my teacher's computer just by guessing, and from that moment on I was like, I want to be a hacker. And so 7th grade I really picked that up, and I really tried to like research like what it meant to be a hacker, or like how to actually hack. And I found out, coding was a really big part of it. So 7th grade, I self-taught myself how to code. I started off with HTML and CSS, made a website from there, and just kind of took off. Yeah, but then my coding history kind of started taking, I guess, larger leaps beginning in 9th grade. So like the reason my coding history started taking larger leaps in 9th grade was because the way my school works, you're not allowed to really like partake in clubs until you reach the high school portion of my school, because my school's basically 5 through 12, and I've been in my school since 5th grade. So when you're in middle school, which is considered 6 through 8, you're not allowed to like join any of the high school clubs unless they specifically say so. But the majority of the clubs are in the high school section. So once I got into 9th grade, I found out we had a robotics club. Okay, I need to join that. I'm interested in robotics, I'm interested in space, I'm interested in engineering. Let me join this club and let me gain more experience. And so 9th grade I joined the club. I was very, very shy, but I mean I kind of got over that. So but from there on, I learned how to engineer. I learned how to build robots. We were part of the first brand name, so we were constantly going to competitions around the scrimmages, qualifiers, stuff like that. we made states, stuff like that. But I think the biggest thing I learned from that was just that there were some things I liked about engineering, and there were some things I didn't like about engineering. And for me personally, I've always been a coder. Like, that's just been kind of ingrained in me. So me joining robotics, I learned that I really do prefer programming things compared to say putting in a wrench and a screw somewhere and stuff like that. Like, probably the wrong analogy to make, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I'm a programmer, and that's what matters. And so I learned that from robotics, and I was able to really think, kind of start thinking about projects that I wanted to do with this knowledge. So it was different projects. I might actually make another video on the projects I make. I think it's a very long list, so we'll go into that later. But basically, from 9th grade, I hopped into 10th grade, and I became I became the leader of the programming division. So you have one division which is programming, which is what I was a part of, and then you have another division which is building, and then you have a third division called PR, which would be the public relations part of the team, which had to deal with kind of outreach, getting to know other teams, making connection with companies, stuff like that. So the team was one big engineering team, but different parts of it corresponded to what your interests were. So you didn't need to technically be interested in robotics per se, but you could be, say, interested in like business or socializing with other people and stuff like that, and that could place you in PR so that you can get more experience with that. Or if you're interested, like me, programming, code, stuff like that, you have the programming team to rely on. Or if you were just more on like a mechanical, electrical engineer, you could join the building team to kind of really get into the nitty gritty of how all these pieces work. So it wasn't until the summer of my 10th grade year where I got into contact with this really big government contractor named the Charles Star Dribbers Laboratory. They're actually located here in Cambridge, so it was really convenient because I didn't really need to travel outside the state. It was more like a 15, 20 minute, 30 minute drive. And I worked for them. I entered their internship application. I was lucky enough to actually be selected for the internship, and I worked there for the entire summer. Made some good money, of course, because that's what matters a lot. But it was pretty great because of the fact that it's a difference between engineering in high school and engineering in the corporate world. Because robotics engineering doesn't always correspond to what the engineering you'll be doing in life and like for companies and jobs and stuff like that. So I really within this experience, I was able to really, ask other professionals of what it meant to be an engineer, what it meant to be an astronomer, because some astronomers are also working there as well for projects that are related to space and astronomy. And so I was able to really solidify my idea of that I really do enjoy this field, and I really do want to go into it. So that work experience was really beneficial to me, just not because I made money off of it, but also because I was able to solidify my life plans from it as well. And then from there, actually, I was actually able to, from me working at Dribbers Laboratory, the project I was working on personally was actually in collaboration with NASA. So I was able to get into contact with NASA and actually get to know some professionals over there and be able to work with NASA for about 2, 3, 4 years. And it was just a great opportunity, just being able to broaden my horizons and see what type of engineering there were out there, how they really applied in the corporate world, or just like the career field in general, and just overall get more experience that would allow me to have a better understanding of how these things actually work, rather than just being on the sidelines and just being like, oh, I like this field, but I don't really know what it means to be in this field. But aside from all that, there is one really big opportunity that I was granted with that really just took a hold of me and allowed me to really accelerate my progress, and that would have to be MIT Seed, which you can actually see the sweater I'm actually wearing. That's their symbol. And so MIT Seed is part of the overall umbrella of MIT OEOP, which stands for MIT Office of Engineering Outreach Programs. And so basically what they are is that they're a program meant to assist with underrepresented kids, students, faculty who may not typically be in this engineering field, but kind of gauge their interest in the field and be able to get them out there and have them understand better of what it means to be an engineer and what it means to think scientifically and with rationale. And so the way it works is that there are 3 main programs that I'm aware of within the OEOP. There are other like smaller ones, or not smaller ones, but just ones that aren't broadcasted as largely as the ones I know right now. And so the three are Seed, which is what I was a part of, Mites, which is the program that occurs during the summer in which if you're selected, you're able to go to MIT for 6 weeks during the summer and just live there, study there, just make new connections. And there's Tech, which is actually the more online version, but you're able to visit MIT for, I believe, 1 week. I could be very wrong. I'll probably ask my friends at Tech to have them correct me, but I believe it is for 1 week, in which you're able to study there for. During the online portion, you have different workshops and study groups, and during that 1 week, you come together to meet other fellow Tech kids. But I was part of Seed, so that's the one I can really speak my experience on. And so basically for Seed, how it works is that in order to be even qualified to be selected for the program, you need to live in either Boston, Lawrence, or Cambridge. And so I was able to kind of do the application and everything, the essay questions. And then if you're selected, you're able to go in for a mock interview on campus. And so you have to kind of just a little bit professionally, just be able to answer the questions they give you, kind of gauge your interest on what it means to really be an engineer. And if they think you're a really great fit for the program, they'll invite you to have like a mock classroom in a way. And so the mock classroom is to actually be able to kind of gauge on like whether or not you would be able to handle the program and like the intensity of the program, because it definitely was not easy, but be able to handle the program's the program's rules and standards within a classroom setting. And so if you're chosen, you're actually enrolled in the class, in the program, and from there you have to stay within the program for the next 4 years, 5 years, depending on what grade you enter. I entered during the 9th grade, so I've been pretty much MIT Seed freshman through senior, yeah. That's the weird way to word it, but I've been with MIT for the past 4 years, and I actually graduated from MIT Seed this year during the whole pandemic. So when I first started the program, back in 9th grade, my first class was a mechanical engineering class in which we had to just learn the basics of mechanical engineering, how it works, what it is. And then at the end, after we learned all this material, we were meant to design the final project. And so our final project was a underwater submarine that was actually controlled by controls that we had to build ourselves. So all these, the entire thing, the rover, the rudders, the motors, everything, the controllers, we'd actually have to physically construct them. We had to actually strip the wires, we had to actually crimp the wires, actually put them into like the components and actually build it all from scratch. And so that was meant to really like show us how tedious engineering is, but also how kind of like, how engineering really does pay off in the end, how good you feel after you make something. And so from there on, each about, I was gonna say year, but it's actually semester based. So within 1 year, there are 2 semesters: the winter and the fall and spring. And so that was my spring semester, because when you get into the program during 9th grade, you're automatically put in for the spring semester, not for the fall, because you apply in the fall. So the fall of my 10th grade year, I was put into a computer science class, in which kind of was just my alley, because I'm already a programmer. So trying to learn actually the basics, like more into programming and Python, stuff like that. And at the end of it, our final project was making a robotic car that would function with ultrasound cameras or sensors, and infrared lights and stuff like that, and just be able to move around an obstacle course and be able to avoid all the obstacles without hitting a single one, and just be able to successfully make it a full lap. And so we were able to do it at the end, and it was pretty cool. And during the spring of my 10th grade year, it was also in computer science again. But the final project, I believe, was, I can't quite remember, but I believe it was the wireless glove I made that was able to actually control the RC car. And so I can actually show off the actual gadget itself when I show off my video of all my projects. But basically the way it works is that depending on your hand movements, the car would accelerate, back up, go left and right, and it also had tilt control. So the lower at an angle you lowered your hand, the faster it would go, and if you raise it higher, it would say it was back up at a faster rate until it was really proportional. It was still control. It's proportional. The speed is proportional to how where the angle your hand was moving, and so yeah. And from there on, just different projects I made. 11th grade is mainly focused on what was 11th grade actually? Can't remember it. But anyway, 12th grade though was BME. Oh wait, remembered. 11th grade was Aero Astra, so I actually made model rockets, and I was able to launch them on MIT's campus, and that was perfect. I love astronomy, so making all these rockets and launching them off was, what was that? Anyway, 12th grade. I actually was put into a BME class, and which is biomedical engineering, by the way. And so we were tasked with making stints that would actually help to keep cow bones together. We were actually given real cow bones that we had to actually drill into and then actually attach the stints into, for the sake of trying to make a more industrially friendly and environmentally friendly stints that would help patients recover faster with like little to no damage around their skin, but also be environmentally friendly to the I guess the environment, and just assisting and making sure that these resources wouldn't be wasted and they wouldn't be harmful to the immediate surrounding. And so yeah, just all these engineering fields. Like I'm really big programmer, but I was able to really learn about these different engineering fields that I hadn't previously learned about. And just with that being said, I guess here's the kind of weird part of my story. My SAT scores and my test scores and everything. I am not a tester. I am very much not a tester. I guess like when it comes to schools and tests, I do pretty fine. But SAT testing and just standardized testing is just, whew. Just to start it off, my SAT score was a 1390. Not by far what you consider to be an Ivy League score, which just goes to show just that scores and numbers don't really matter at the end. What really matters is your passion and what you do with your time. My ACT score, we will not talk about that. We will not talk about that. Moving on to GPA. I graduated high school with, I think, around a 4.1, maybe 4.12 GPA. Was not valedictorian, and was not salutatorian. So moving away from that, I would also say that aside from engineering, which is kind of where the majority of this video has been going towards, I also was the first black president of my high school, and SGA which is Student Government Association, has always really been a big part of me, because I always understood that in order to really be a leader, it's a mixture of two things: being intellectually capable and also being charismatically capable. You can't have charisma if you're not able. Well, I mean, even if you're the smartest one in the room, right? If you're the smartest one in the room, but you're not able to really articulate your words, you're not able to really get the crowd going and have them back you, no one's going to listen to you. No one's going to follow you. But if you have all the charisma in the room, but you're not able to make intellectual decisions that actually will impact others, but not to their benefit, people will begin to stop following you and instead begin to hate you and diss you and think that you're just dumb. And so really, in order to be a leader, you need to have both qualifications. And for me, I've always been an engineering kid, but I haven't always been the most outgoing, and I've been shy pretty much like a large portion of my life until recently. Joining student government really sort of just helped with being able to understand how these policies work, how to actually make ideas and formulate them into actual strategies and plans, and actually kind of enact them into your community. It was a funny story, actually. I joined back in 9th grade, but I originally joined. I was planning to join, but then I didn't want to join at the end. But then my 9th grade history teacher, her name's Miss Giordano, she actually came up to me during lunch, and she was like, "Oh, Denzel, like I can't wait to hear your speech." And I was like, my speech? And it's just like, oh damn, I forgot I had a speech coming up. I thought I canceled that. And wrote a quick speech, and I was just able to get elected as grade rep. And from there, I decided to stick through it, and just continue each grade. I mean, it was fun the first year, so I decided why not just keep going each year. And then during sophomore year, I tried running for vice president. I lost badly. Well, not badly actually. It was a really close tie, but I lost because I was running against a junior at the time, and normally it's you don't really run against juniors because like they have seniority and stuff like that. And I was really trying to go against the norm. I lost, but it is what it is. But instead of giving up, I instead just continued on. I joined the next year again as grade rep, but this time during junior year when it was coming up for elections, I ran as president and I got elected as president, and I served as president, the first black president, all throughout senior year, and lots of interesting stories about that. But that's another video for another time because it goes into a long history that happened there. But also aside from all, I guess my academic extracurriculars, I was also part of like a community service side. My entire family is Catholic, and so I served as an altar server at my local church for the past 10 years. And like every Sunday, just got in there, got dressed in my white robe as an acolyte, and helped serve the priest on the altar. And did that for the past 10 years. I made some really great connections, made some really great friends, really got to know my community better. And it just allowed me to become like better in tune with like my community. Just like they practically became family, and just like being able to know their issues, being able to help with their issues, just being able to really help with the people around me really was a really beneficial part of my my upcoming. Test scores they're really a really insignificant portion of your application. What really matters is what you do with your time, just overall the type of person you are, and just what your interests are and how you've been pursuing your interests. I've always been an engineering kid, like I said, and how I've been explained throughout this entire video. And so I've always tried to pursue my interests, and just whether it be an actual real life work, whether it be at clubs at school, whether it just be at home, just programming. Just I've always tried to pursue that, and at the end of the day, they were the mission officers at Harvard and Stanford were able to see that and really just took interest in that and were able to accept me. Or yeah, anyway. But that being said, yeah, I really don't know. Just what matters at the end of the day is just being your own person and not trying to conform to what other people tell you. Just trying to be your own individual, trying to know what interests you, whether it be music, literature, writing. I guess literature and writing say the same thing, but engineering, of course, math, science, art. It doesn't matter. Just being able to really put yourself out there and gain some different opportunities and really trying to make a meaning from your life. And so that's what really matters at the end. That's what will really get these officers to take a look at your application and just say, yeah, we need them. We want them in our community. They'll really benefit us, and just accept your application. And so yeah, I hope this video kind of helps reduce any fears you guys might have about applying to college, or overall just trying to get kind of a head start into the application process. At the end of the day, like I said, what I've been trying to echo this entire video, scores are not everything. They're not the end all be all. What really matters is who you are as a person, what you do with your time, and how you kind of write that and put that out in writing. I might make another video going to my essays and stuff like that. They really are personal, but I don't really mind helping you guys out. So with that being said, I hope all you guys have a great day, and see you next video.